research on a couple of different topics now. I suppose my primary area of research is on business innovation and the spatial aspects of business innovation. So how does a firm's location affect its level of innovation, its innovation activity? So does the presence of other firms or geographic proximity to other firms improve or hinder a firm's ability to capture the benefits of its innovation activity? I did my PhD in this area, looking at high-tech businesses in Ireland and the effect of geographic proximity to universities, to other firms, to public research organizations on the likelihood of a firm engaging in innovation. And that has followed through then to look at things like agglomeration effects and co-location effects. I'm also interested in, I suppose, the effect of diversity on individuals' migration decision. So I'm looking now at whether the diversity of a region or an area makes it more attractive for migrants to come to that area, and whether there is an effect of cultural diversity, but also cultural distance on that decision. And I suppose finally, the regional area that I'm looking at is on the effect of location on sports performance. I'm very interested in sports economics as well. And there is a very under-researched area, which is what is it about a location that makes a sports club perform better or perform worse? I mean, we know that sports clubs perform differently. And we also know that can be spatially concentrated. So clubs within a capital city may outperform clubs in other cities, or in some countries, clubs in provincial cities can outperform capital cities. And also we know that some sports are popular in some locations and not popular in other locations. So I'm interested in this kind of spatial aspect of sports performance. And it's very interesting because we can test business economics ideas using sport because we have such great data on sports performance, and very little data, or at least it's hard to get data on how businesses perform. So one thing I'm looking at now is the effect of cultural diversity of teams and squads on the performance of that team. That would be very, very difficult to do for a firm, but I can do it quite easily with a sports team. So those would be my current research areas, which all are tied together with a regional or spatial aspect, but I suppose I look at different things from a spatial aspect. I think the challenges are, still much the same as they have been for many years. I think there is there's an importance for the disciplines, the disciplines that make up regional science, to recognize the importance of place. This is particularly true, I suppose. Maybe it's more obvious to me because I'm an economist, and still yet in economics we need to argue for the importance of place. To me, it seems quite obvious that things happen in places. And if we look at the world, we see concentrations of economic activity in cities and in different regions. But yet our economic models in standard economics are aspatial. They don't take place into consideration. They just presume that the world is flat. In geography, of course, this isn't an issue. In other social sciences, like for example, with ethnography, there's no such concern. That argument doesn't need to be made. Data is a big issue too, and having reliable data on a low enough level of analysis. I think it has become better that we are now moving down to lower and lower regions, but still we know that the individual operates by reference to other individuals, and the lower we can get our analysis, the better. I think what's exciting is GIS data and big data, and how we use big data and spatially analyze big data, and that's quite an interesting topic, I think, for the next few years. Well, economics now is, I suppose, with behavioral economics, is becoming much more open to behavioral aspects. We know that people sometimes act irrationally. When we say irrational, we mean they're irrational compared to what our models say they will be. But we need to assume that they're rational or our models won't work. So what we need to do then is start to say, well, this is our prediction. If they were rational, they don't act like this in real life. So now let's try to explain the difference. Let's try to understand the difference. And that's where behavioral economics comes in strongly, and social psychology about, well, it's because when they move around, they meet other people that are doing certain things that influences them. And we know that people make decisions based on how they are perceived. So this is relational economics, which I think is very interesting to me. Well, I'm a member of the British and Irish section, and that then is affiliated to ERSA. ERSA is, I think, the leading regional science organization for Europe. I think there is an important academic rigor which is part of ERSA, which is very attractive to me. I suppose the most obvious way that ERSA supports me is by providing me with a network of very strong, academically well qualified researchers and scholars who, whilst they are very robust and very rigorous in their analysis, at the same time are also very sociable and very good people to work with and good people to talk to, and very generous people. So I think that's very generous with their time and with their ideas. So I think ERSA is a great support for young scholars as well as established scholars, in that it's a community, a very vibrant community, and that's something that I think is its biggest selling point. Well, the reason I came to ERSA in Groningen, I suppose, is two-sided. On the one side, I'm here as a discipline, for my discipline to hear the research that's going on, to make connections, to hear the new ideas, to see where the discipline is, so that I can move my own research forward, and that I can also see what other people are working on, and how I can link in with them, and maybe even collaborate and work with people, and to meet those researchers whose work I respect a lot, and get to talk to them, and I read a paper and I see a name, and I can go to ERSA and have a coffee with that person. It's great. That's my ostensible reason for coming. My second reason for coming is because I'm the chair of the local organising committee for the ERSA Congress in Cork in 2018, and so I'm also here as a spy to find out what is going right here in Groningen. I know that the regional scientists in Groningen are a very impressive bunch, and the ERSA Congress in Groningen was always going to be a great congress. So the best place to learn is from the best, so that's why I'm here as well.